England go 2-0 down following another abysmal 8-wicket loss to Australia in the second Ashes Test at the Gabba. It was a fairly terrible showing all round, really. I mean, Joe Root scored some runs in the first innings, didn't do anything in the second innings. The boys, Stokes and Jacks, digged in a bit on the fourth morning, but other than that, it was fairly awful. We didn't bowl very well. I mean, Joff, in fair play to him, showed some fight when the game was gone, as Steve Smith pointed out. But, there is not a lot you can really take from these two games concerning the way this team want to go and the way this team want to play. I mean, it's proven that it's the wrong way, really. You can't flash at everything outside off stump. You can't try and launch everything into row Z when the boundaries are 80 metres back, And, we just haven't really done as well as, a lot of people predicted we should have. And so following the second test, it's a 5-test series. Melbourne gets washed out a ton, so we're probably looking at best 2-2, and with Cummins and Hazelwood coming back, I just don't think that's manageable at all. So I've come up with 5 things that I think England might be able to take from this series, even if we lose, even if we win a test or if we don't. And if we fall 4-0, 5-0, I think there are still some positives to take from the two games into the next 3, and I think there is a way England can get something from the series, and we'll go from there. I think to save this England team from another horror show down under, I do think that the media are over-exaggerating how bad we've been. I mean, I don't think this is the worst England tour of all time to Australia, as some of the media are calling it. I mean, that first game, if you look how close it was, I don't think that you can say that... I know Travis Head came in, whacked it about, and made us look stupid and we lost by 8 wickets, but you can't look at that and go, oh yeah, we absolutely, Australia dominated that game. We bowled them out for 120-odd, 130-odd in the first innings, and took a 40-run lead when we only scored 170 or 160. So there was the opportunity. We were ahead of the game, right, and we threw that away. I wouldn't say in that first game we played well. It was more Australia played badly. This game, we were outplayed, if I'm being honest, in the second test. And it was all because of our own stupidity and our own just put that shot outside off stump away. Right? If you want to give it away, fair enough, but drop yourself from the team, because some of it is so stupid. Like Ollie Pope, the amount of times I can just have a go at him. I've been watching over the years, and trust me, I am one of Ollie Pope's biggest fans. Right, I absolutely adore the bloke. I think he could be one of, if he could sort his technique out, he could be one of England's best ever batters, right? But every time he shows any good sign of, oh, he looks good today, he'll just have a flash at one outside off stump. Or, let's just whack it straight back to the bowler. Mistime a drive. He needs to learn to put that drive shot away. Because when you don't do that, then suddenly that good platform that your openers are built, and I know it wasn't him, but Duckett came out and was hitting them, not Duckett, Crawley came out and was hitting them well, right? The minute you put that drive away, England go from being in that silly position they were in where Crawley and Pope put them in a good position in the second innings to suddenly, we're suddenly now 3 down when we were 1 down and we were only 5 runs been added to the board. So I do think there's a genuine problem there with England at the minute, where they just seem to lose wickets in clusters, and that is a genuine problem that they need to sort out, because it's almost like one batter gets out, instead of going, you know what, for maybe 4 or 5 overs, let's just compensate here. Let's not try and score, put the bad ball away, but let's not go out of our way to try and score runs, and let's just build a partnership, right, for 10 overs, 10 overs, right? But instead, it's almost like, oh, Pope's out, doesn't really matter, And I love Crawley as well, and I think for me, he probably did, other than Root, he was probably our best bat, I think, over the 2 innings. I know Stokes scored a 50 in the second, and Jack's got some runs, but I think over the Crawley looked probably the best out of the 2 of them. So, other than Root, because Root was, I know he didn't get many in the second innings, but that first innings 100, I think, was one of his best. Just the pressure and everything he was on to score runs. I mean, he will go down as our best bat or best player of all time, I think, when he retires. I think for people who were saying that he needed to score 100 in Australia for him to be in this career, I think that's just someone, because he's English, not accepting that he is one of the greatest of all time. Having grown up in his era when he's scored all these runs, I think, there's a reason you look at some of those players that he was put in that Fab Four with, and there's a reason why he's still playing, I think. And Kohli's retired, but that is because he probably wasn't scoring as many runs as he wanted to in his Test career when he finished. If he'd have gone to Australia last winter and scored 400s, 500s, would he still be playing Test cricket? He probably would be, But he only scored one, and he looked really out of form for that 100. I know he scores. He is the best ODI batter of all time, Kohli, and I'm not going to debate that at all. But I think you have to look at it and go, his longevity route is probably the best player ever, in my generation. So, for people who then go and say, oh yeah, he's not modern great because he hasn't scored 100 in Australia, I think that's just a lazy opinion. But now that he's done it, I think, you have to put in that debate. But back to the point, I think that top order has to sort itself out. You look at some of the players in there, Crawley for me stays the next game. He scored runs in this game, and if he does well in the next game, I think he's probably a shoo-in. Duckett, I think, probably has to stay. I know he hasn't scored really any runs, but you just look at it and he always looks like he's getting out. He doesn't fill me with confidence when I walk in. During the summer, at the English summer, over the last few years, he's always filled me with confidence. Even when we've played abroad, he's always filled me with confidence. I go, Ben Duckett, I trust him. He's not going to get out. I know that he'll be fine. But no, instead, on this tour, for whatever reason, maybe it's the extra bounce, maybe it's probably Mitch Stark, if I'm being honest. He's been outrageously good, but he just doesn't fill me with any confidence. And that's a massive problem for this England team at the minute, because it reminds me a bit of Joe Root when he was captain maybe 4 years ago, when he'd be coming in at 10 for 2, 8 for 2, every time, because Pope's not an opener. And when he's coming in the first or second over, you're setting him up to fail, right? So, but I do think Duckett keeps his place just because I don't think there's anyone else you could put in there and go, you know what, I'm going to stick him into open for the next game. Because it's just unfair if you throw someone in mid-Ashes series with Pat Cummins coming back who has no international experience opening the batting. I just don't think that's, you're not setting up someone for success if you do that. I do think that Pope is probably on the chopping block. I know Bethel scored a few runs. I know it was only 70-odd, but he got a few for the Lions. So you could be looking at a Bethel call-up for the next game. Though what I'd like to be seeing is, I think Bethel's still a bit raw and he still hasn't sorted a lot of his problems out. So I'd like to see Jax play. I know he played, but I'd like to see him up at number 3. I think his technique is suited for number 3. I think, he's looked good when he's batted. Despite maybe, his dismissals have been a bit nothing dismissals, but he's looked good for me. And I think definitely a batting promotion for him for the next game. I just think he's better suited at the minute. Pope just looks so fidgety at the start of his innings. That first game, in that first innings, when he came out to bat, he looked different to the Ollie Pope that I think we all knew, because he put that fidgety, I'm going to have a prod at this outside of stump away. But now he's brought it back, and it's just not, he's not setting himself up for success. I don't think this is the end of his England career if he does bad, and they could still play him for the rest of the series, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did, but I just think giving him a rest, taking him out the spotlight is probably the best thing for Ollie Pope. Please, I wish I'm wrong and he goes out, they pick up in the next game and he scores 150, but I just don't see that happening at the minute. I don't trust him at all walking out to bat 3 for England anymore. I think Root's, Root stays, and here's where I have my problem. Harry Brook is a world-class talent. Don't get me wrong, he is one of the most talented players I've seen come through for England in the last 10 years. But he's got to sort out his mentality, and he's got to sort out the way he plays. That dismissal in the first innings where he tries to launch whoever over cover, I mean, I'm sorry, but when he tries to launch Stark over cover, you know, you don't want a quick fire 30 from your number 5, right? I want my number 5 to be churning out runs. He's got to figure out how to bat properly. This isn't ODI cricket, this isn't T20 cricket. He's an unbelievable player, don't get me wrong, but he's got to sort out his technique. Not sort out his technique, sorry, his mentality. Because you can't be going out there and going, oh, you know what, a quick 530 will do us fine here. You know? He was batting with Joe Root, who went on to score 100, right? Just bat with him. Bat with him. Just go, oh yeah, let's just tap this around. You know, and then the occasional bad ball, put that away for a boundary. Australia fielding would field us out. It's not like they were forcing them to hit boundaries. You could hit them to deep cover for a single every day of the week, or deep square. But no, he insists on trying to launch it over cover every time. And, you know, for me, it's just not, you know, it's just not the right thing to do at the minute. I'm not saying drop him, because I do think he is an unbelievable player. For me, I'd swap him and Stokes around. I'd have Stokes at 5, because I know he's batted there for a lot of his Test career. And I'd have Brook at 6. I just think Stokes is, the way he batted in that second innings for me, showed a bit of grit, showed a bit of determination. And even if you don't make it a permanent thing, even if you just go, oh, depending on the situation, we'll bat whoever. But I just think that the way Brook bats at the minute is so one-dimensional. And when it comes off, he is an unbelievable player. Don't get me wrong, when he comes off, he is world class. He's one of the best players. There's a reason he's number 2 in the world, batting-wise. But he has got to sort out his mentality. He's got to sort out the way he plays. You know, some of these dismissals, I know, you know, second he gets up trying to be defensive, and he probably for the rest of the series will just try and launch everything, but I just don't think that's the right way to do it. It is not the right way to do it. And then Ben Stokes, you know, for the first time since he's been back fit bowling, he got tired, and he got like he didn't have a clue how he was going to get a wicket. Like, for the first time when I watched it, I didn't feel like Ben Stokes was going to get a wicket. And whenever I watch him bowl, I always go, you know what, I feel like there's a wicket coming here. Like, he's got that golden arm ability about him where just out of nowhere, he'll pull a wicket out of the bag, and you're like, oh, brilliant. You know what I mean? Right. So, I just feel like it's so close for him. You know, in the first game, it was bowling and his batting net's down. This game, his batting's improved, but his bowling is where it's fallen off a bit. So you just need to put together that complete performance, right? And if Stokes puts together a complete performance, the pressure is taken off for the bowlers, so I'll get onto it in a minute. But I think it's closer. I think it's closer than what you think, right? And I think it's because I feel like people haven't put enough sort of thought into how important Ben Stokes is to this England attack. Because I know we hyped up Archer and we've hyped up Atkinson, but Archer's shown me stuff, Atkinson hasn't shown me anything. He's bowled a few good balls, but other than that, he's been totally... Like, they've just taken him out of the game, right? Like, there's a reason he hasn't really got any wickets. So I think when you look at that, we need Ben Stokes back firing. And we need him firing quick. We need him to put together a complete performance if we want to take anything from the next 3 games. Because otherwise, you know, it won't go down as the worst England Ashes tour of all time, because that COVID tour was horrible. And I get PTSD just thinking about it. But I think you've got to sort stuff out, because it's silly, really, what's going on at the minute. And then Jamie Smith. Look, Jamie Smith, for me, he is an amazing player. Still young, still got a very bright England career ahead of him. But he just looks like a deer in headlights at the minute. Like, he looks like this is the most pressure he's been under as a player, and it's just... He's crumbling, really. He's crumbling, and it really makes you wonder about whether we've gone too early with him, or whether he just wasn't ready for this situation. And whether that New Zealand series has just completely knocked him out of form before. You know, you just don't know, really. Like, what I think about him is he's similar to Pope, probably more than Pope, as he needs some time out of the spotlight. He needs time away from the game. And they won't do it because this England team and this England setup are not the same as old ones where, there's not an ex-cab off the rack. There's not someone who can go, the backup keeper's on the tour. Give Jamie Smith a rest and we'll play someone else. Ollie Pope's your backup keeper, who's batting 3 and hasn't scored a run, really. So, for me, I'd probably say Smith, have a rest and move Pope to keep. But then the whole thing about having a really good keeper. I mean, your good performance, Alex Carey game, putting in the second game, and he was outstanding. That is one of the best keeping performances I've ever seen. So having someone like that, an out-and-out keeper who, is very important. And I just don't think that Jamie Smith is an out-and-out keeper. Again, Carey's a good bat, don't get me wrong, he's an amazing bat, but he's an amazing keeper. And we've picked Smith because he can keep, but he's a good bat. He doesn't keep for Surrey. He doesn't keep for his county side. That's Ben Stokes, who was England keeper before him. So it just makes you wonder about whether they've made the right decisions, because I know they want people to bat with the tail and they want batters, but at the same time you're sacrificing a really good keeper. So that's another interesting point. And then into, Will Jacks, who had a amazing, not an amazing game, don't get me wrong, I'm saying amazing, and he scored he got a quick fire, not even quick fire, got 19 or 20 in the first innings and then got 40 odd in the second. So really he didn't do a lot, but just the way he batted and the way he sort of went in his shell, and you think about him as this outstanding white ball player. I wouldn't say outstanding, he's been a bit on and off over the last year, but you think about him for his white ball abilities, and that innings on the fourth morning where he sort of just sat there with Ben Stokes and blocked the ball and played the bad ball away, proved that this England team have the capability to put it away. Put away this bad ball, whack it to all parts, and just sit there and go, I'm gonna block this. I'm gonna wait for the bad ball. I'm gonna put the bad ball away, but I don't want to get out. I don't want to get out because he was the one that came in and was playing for his spot. He had the most to prove out of this England team. And he has outdone himself, I think, and he's a shoo-in for the next game. But I also think he was underutilised with the spin. I think we didn't use him near enough in that first innings. I felt it took until Australia were miles ahead of the game to Stokes to go, you know what, let's bowl a spinner, And what is the point in picking him as a spinner if you're not then going to use him? And I know you pick it to length from the batting lineup, but it's just silly. Why don't you give him a go? Just give him an over or two, every once in a while, just to rotate your seamers around rather than your seamers just coming in and whacking away, which, that's what ended up happening. But, his spin could be used more, and I think it will be used more in the next game. I really hope they don't pick Bashir, because I'm going to give I think Bashir is terrible. He gets wickets, right, which is a problem, but he doesn't bowl enough wicket-taking deliveries to warrant going at 5 and over, which he will do if he plays. So that's just frustrating, that we don't really have a top-class spinner, so then you're always stuck between this, we could just play 3 part-timers, so... But we'll see. I mean, hopefully he uses Jacks a bit more in the next game. Atkinson had for someone, I had a discussion with one of my mates at the start of the first game about Atkinson and Carse, and the fact that you pick 2 of them. They're not number 8s, but they're not number 9s. They're sort of 8.5s in terms of they can both bat, but they're not number 8s in terms of ability-wise. And Atkinson, for me, was more of a number 8 than Carse was. And I felt more confident about the way Atkinson could bat. But this game, for me, when Stokes got out, right, in that second innings, and Atkinson came to the crease, I was like, you know what, if he gets a 30 or 40 runs here, and Carse bats with him, and we get up to 40 runs, right, and then we're suddenly 150 ahead, I feel confident that we could cause some chaos or something weird could happen, right? I wasn't overly confident, but I was like, we have a chance at that point. And really early on into his innings, he decides that he wants to try and launch someone. He wants to launch a short ball, or put down a short ball that's outside, off stump and head high. I mean, you've just given it away, and that for me is frustrating. I mean, he's bowled okay. I mean, I think I said earlier he's been fairly awful. I mean, that's not fair. He has been better, but he needs to offer more, and I think they'll give him a rest in the next game. I think we could see a complete revamp of the bowling attack, minus maybe Archer, because I think that last bit has got him a bit fired up, and I hope he does keep fired up, but I'll talk about him in a minute. But I really hope that they give him a rest, and I hope they give Cast a rest. They're going to Cast now. He's got wickets, but bless him, he's coming in and he just looks like he can't put 6 balls in the same place, which as a professional cricketer and playing for England, I just think you have to give it a go. Like, you have to try and land stuff in the same area, and Cast just looks completely out of it. And look, he's getting wickets, right? I reckon he's probably our top wicket taker on the tour, but I just think we need more out of him. We need more consistency, and I know he's going at 6 and over, or over 6 and over now, but we just need a bit more consistency from him. And, I think he probably deserves a rest as well going into the next game. Or maybe not deserves a rest, but I think he should be rested for the next game, and maybe this is where we see Josh Tongue or Mark Wood come back in, just to give some of these bowlers a rest and, get a bit more. I know Josh Tongue sprays it, but he's capable of bowling an absolute jaffer as well. So hopefully we give these two a go, and we'll see what happens really. And then Jofra Archer onto him. I mean, he batted well. He's very number 11 coming in and launching. I think he launched Nisa and he launched Doggett for a 6 each, but he looks really good for me. And he's bowled a lot better than the wickets he's taken in this series. I think, he had 3 drop catches in the first innings, and I think he might have had 1 in the second. So I think he deserves a lot more than what he's getting. And with the bat, I mean, that was just fun watching him and Joe Root bat when Joe Root was reverse scooping things and he was trying to launch everything. I mean, it was great. I mean, it was good to see. It was good entertainment. And I think he brings entertainment. And if Archer doesn't play, I'm generally concerned about this team. And I know we've got a big break, but he has to play this next game if England wants to get anything out of this series. I think England will win a game. Don't get me wrong, I think England will win a game at some point. Whether it's the next game or whether it's the last game, I do think they'll win one. I think they won't if Archer's not playing. Archer has to play for me. He just brings that excitement when he's bowling, and he brings a bit of fight, which no one else has really shown. And I think I really like the comment from Ben Stokes in his post-match interview talking about how, people sort of need to step up and be brave and strong-minded. And I don't think enough of this England team has been. But we'll see what happens. I mean, the next game is next Tuesday. I don't even know where it is, to be honest. Don't know if I'll watch it. Adelaide. So Adelaide next Tuesday. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm not having to wake up early for that. So maybe I will watch it. But I just don't know whether it's worth. You're just worried. I'm just worried about this England team. There's a few people who I think could lose a bit of. If it doesn't go this way, I think McCullum and Rob Key, I think, are under a bit of pressure then at that point. You can't say that this team has been building up to this for 3 years to then lose 4-0, 5-0, and show no fight. At all. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it'll be interesting to see, but we'll see what happens. I mean, we've been fairly awful. Australia haven't even been that good. They've been good. Stark's been amazing. I think he's sort of given me Mitchell Johnson flashbacks. But Australia on the whole haven't been that good. They've just been solid, and they've been enough to take because we're giving our wickets away. So we'll see. But it's a day game in Adelaide, so it'll be interesting to see if they do go anything different in terms of their batting order and the team. But my team for the next test, I'm going to go Crawley and Duckett to open. I think Duckett keeps his place. I'm going to go Jacks at 3. Controversial. Jacks at 3, Root at 4, Stokes up to 5. Just I think we need a bit more solidity. in that middle order. It's not that I don't think Brooks good enough to bat 5. I just think him whacking it at 6 is better than him whacking it at 5. So obviously Brooks 6, Pope keeping at 7. I just think, I think he needs a rest. Smith, he just looks out of it completely. I think he needs to take some time and just think every impact. So Pope at 7. I'm then gonna go. So my bowlers will be Archer's still gonna play for me, and I move him up. Josh Tongue plays. Mark Wood plays for me. I think he comes back in, depending on his fitness. I'm not sure. And then I'll go maybe Bethel at 8, just to keep that lengthening of the back line up. But I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I don't hold out much hope, but I'll have my fingers crossed that we can pull something out of the bag, and something will happen. But I guess we'll see. We'll see. Join me next Tuesday morning, and we'll see if anything actually goes well, which I highly doubt it, but it'll be interesting to see nonetheless.